Nerds and geeks, we are back out here in these geekdom streets. I know you've been asking, I know you've been begging, some have been pleading. When is the legendary Nerd-O-Rama crew gonna come back and get it in? And damn it, here we are. And it's perfect timing too, because of one of the most monumental endings of a series that so many people grew up with. I'm talking about Stranger Things, and we've got to talk about all of the strange things that happen in Stranger Things. And then there's also a little bit of Avatar shenanigans going on. I'm gonna let you know off the top. I am an Avatar truther. I do not believe in the success of these bullshit films, but before we even get close to that, let's welcome back the crew. I see Dr. Liz from the freeway. What it is, girl? Happy New Year.
Hi, everyone. It's so nice to see you. I don't see Tom, but everybody else is so nice to see you all. It's been forever.
Tom is talking Cunningham. Where are you?
I am in the 50 Cent Academy of Petty and Haterism, looking at your review of Avatar Fire and Ash. So I am just sitting in my lair of red hot magma.
I love it. And Anthony from Two Cubicles Down. What it is, man?
Oh man, how good is it to be back? It is.
And it's very
start
good.
To the year.
Kick it off. We're about to go to war with everyone and their mama. Why not spread some nerd-tastic joy? I know Ryan Twitch Master McBain is off doing something with his Twitch fingers, probably conquering some level or a game or something or another. John Considine, who we love so much, is always active in our text thread, but he is just so shy, so he won't be joining us. But the one and only Mo Kelly, he will be here soon. He is just wrapping up officiating a basketball game. Then he'll be joining us to join in on this Stranger Things competition. And I say competition because there are competing theories, competing philosophies, and even competition for was it good or was it bad? I'm talking about opposing sides of Stranger Things fans, because this finale has literally split the fandom down the middle, which is shocking to me.
I don't understand
watching
it.
all these seasons, man, I loved it. Personally, I loved it. My daughter literally was inconsolable. She had the full-on Oprah cry. And I'm talking before we even watched it. She was crying when she woke up in the morning just because it was all coming to an end. She cried throughout the show, cried at the end, couldn't be hugged, couldn't be nothing. Me and myself, I clapped, I cheered, I stood up yelling at certain moments in this show. I was all in. What was the problem? What is there to hate about it?
Well, I think a couple of things. First of all, shout out to Movie Guy 19. Thank you for watching the show. But I think there is a different vibe in fandom these days, and people are a bit more jaded, and there is a lot less tolerance for a happy ending. People want things that are dark, and one of the critiques that I heard is that there weren't enough mains who died. And I don't know why somebody would watch a show all 5 of these seasons where we literally grew up with these characters.
Literally, yes.
And there were people who were big in each individual season who died. So Bob was a big person who died. Nobody even really knew who the original death that sparked the whole series was, because she was only on screen for like 5 minutes and then she got dragged away and killed. But Bob was somebody whose arc developed, and then Eddie's arc developed, and Billy's arc developed.
Don't forget Alexi.
Lexi too.
Yep.
But I'm saying, for me, those were always side characters. You never really fucked with the core. And even when Will was kind of like the Laura Palmer of season 1, and then he comes back, once the gang was together, and then you added Max, and then you added Lucas's sister, none of the core children was ever really messed with. So why you would expect one or more of those kids to be eliminated. Now, Max, we had a 2-season carryover of whether or not she was going to make it. But I just don't know why fans of the show would want some of those kids killed. And that seemed to be the biggest thing that people were upset with, that there was only one, big death. Oh, spoiler alert. We're going to be doing spoilers just in case.
Oh, there's absolutely spoilers. Anyone
that's a
who's ever
hallmark of the
watched
show.
this. Yeah.
But Kali, quote unquote, dying was pretty major. And of course, there were any number of red shirt deaths. And so, that's what I wanted. What I wanted was the kids to win. If you didn't want the kids to win, why the fuck were you watching the show?
I hate kids.
Right. I think that there is such a look at society, right? And when you look, there's so much negativity out in the world where people are now, before shows even debut, before movies debut in theaters, everyone wants to tear it apart first without even watching most of these things. And it's just become that way. But then I know people who literally hate watch the show. And that's something that really bogs my mind, for you to sit there and watch all of this finale and just literally show up into the office like, I hated this, I hated that, that was stupid. And I'm like, why are you watching this shit? Like, it seems you don't appreciate anything about it. Why is it on? For me,
right.
I love the show because, and I was telling this to my daughter, there is so much in the show for me, someone who was born early 73, but really grew up in the 80s. Every single thing that was happening in this show, I could relate to. I could relate to all of the scenery, the malls, the things that they were saying, the looks that they had, even though, God bless whoever it is that decided to fuck Lucas's hair up for this last season. I don't know.
Put a pin in that. I got an answer for that too, because I saw an interesting take.
I hope so, because for me, I'm like, there's no way that his sister Erica was rocking super fresh JJ Fad MC Light styles, and he was rocking the worst high top fade I've ever seen ever. I'm like, who in the hell did that to your hair, young brother? And why did you allow it? But still for me, as someone who was arguing, I think I'm probably, actually, maybe I think I'm a year or two older than these kids in this series when this show is happening. So for me, I'm like, this is my life. And a lot of people are asking, like, there's no way kids wouldn't be out like that. I'm like, you did not grow up in the 80s. The whole phrase latchkey kids, it comes from the fact that we all had keys to get into our houses, because guess what? When we came home from school, parents weren't there. You know what I'm saying? My mother typically was out working, wouldn't be home till like 8 o'clock. Do you know how much craziness I could get into between the time I left to go to school and 8 o'clock? I could have been Demogorgon gone. I could have been out of here. So yes, everything that was happening, minus all the supernatural things, but the kids just being out and about all day long, riding on bikes from one end of town to the next. Hell yes, all of that is the life that we lived growing up. I mean, I don't know if any of y'all remember, there used to be a commercial, a literal television commercial with celebrities that would come on and say, it's 10 o'clock.
Do you know where your kids
are? Okay, that's what we grew up with, that, because guess what? Our parents, like, literally, there were some who had a street light rule. If you don't know what that is, that means have your ass inside before the street lights are on. And there are some of us who are able to defy the street light rule, and that's just what it was. There are so many Easter eggs. When I say Easter eggs, I'm talking things that they quoted out of some of our favorite movies, from E.T. to Back to the Future to Star Wars to everything. The clothing, all the things in the back. One time they passed by a photo mat. I'm like, yo. And there wasn't even a thing, but it was just in the back to let you know, yeah, we're really real about this 80s lifestyle. So, how could you hate it? Liz, what was your takeaway?
Oh, I don't watch the show.
You don't watch it at all.
But I hate on it, Liz.
No, I'm not gonna hate, but I will say that it has definitely ignited something with my daughter, because she is like now into like all these 80s things and the gear, the 80s gear. So it has brought all that back. But I'm actually more interested in something outside of the show that dealt with how AMC had the 2-day launch. So you get to see it in the movie theaters, and you paid $20. So it was not a part of my little, me and Tom's little swallow you. So you pay your $20, but then you get a $20 gift card to spend it on food. So essentially, it was actually $0. And what I think,
super fly,
right? And so I went to the movies to see something else, and when I say it was packed New Year's Eve, I don't think I've ever seen the movies packed that heavy, especially on New Year's Eve. And
they made $25 million.
And that's what's so interesting, right? So it was an hour wait for food. Like my son had a conniption fit that he couldn't get a hot dog. But what's interesting is the guild did not allow it to clear. So Netflix made $0 on this. That 25 million went completely to AMC.
The theaters, yeah.
Wow.
2 days.
And they can't be mad at it. And of course, after the acquisition or whatever we want to call it, Warner comes across, that may give Netflix a different strategy as to how they release some of their features into theaters if they want like a special event like this. Because I don't know about the rest of you all, but AMC, I think, understood the assignment when they started putting things like opera performances as a part of Phantom, and they sometimes they'll show, like, if it's a major sporting event, a European sporting event that they know people might not be able to get into a crowd on. But with the introduction of places like Cosm, a movie theater sharing a shared experience like that only makes sense. And so AMC is like, look, we got to get in where we can fit in. That may mean re-airing old classic movies like the Purple Rain re-release, and other things like that.
Yeah,
they're trying to leverage wherever they can what a true cinematic shared experience can be. And I think this Netflix thing of allowing people, especially people in our age demo, to enjoy a communal sharing of this finale in a real cinematic setting made perfect sense.
And it's only 1 or 2 days, right, that they're even doing these releases. And I'm going to say that the crowd, though, was not us, age-wise. The crowd was like your 20-year-olds that was at the movies. But I think the biggest thing is the fact that you also had, I don't think I've ever seen a concession stands line that long. And even at when my daughter went to see it with her friend at a different theater, the concession stand line was this long. It's like, I know we're going to talk about it later, but it was like an Avengers line. Like that's how long the lines were. But the benefit is because it was completely, you literally spent nothing.
Look, that concept alone, giving them $20 and them saying, hey, go on and use this at the concession stand. Yeah, you got me on that. Mo, what were your thoughts?
I got to take a little time with this because Stranger Things spoke to me in a very personal way. I can show you pictures of me when I was 14 and 15, and you would say, damn, that is Lucas. Look like it. Haircut aside, there is something about the Stranger Things universe, which is very John Hughes-ish, where you're in the Midwest, but it could be anywhere in America. And I found myself empathizing with Lucas, being the only Black kid, but he's self-aware that he's in this non-Black universe, that there are parameters and limitations, and he tries to work through those. And I talked about this with Tom over text. I was really, really pleased that the Duffer Brothers pushed through and they manifested this relationship between Lucas and Max.
Oh yeah, he got the baddie.
Yeah, he got the baddie, but they showed real affection. And that was kind of my upbringing. So I identified with just the interpersonal relationships. I was the kid who was playing Dungeons and Dragons. So I understood all that. I appreciated that.
Yeah.
I was the kid who worked at the mall, like Robin did. I appreciate all that. I remember the kids that we thought were gay who were too afraid to come out. And for all the pushback about having Will tell his story about coming out, that made perfect sense. That was when you're talking about a period piece and what people were like during that time. That was a big fucking deal.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, to your friends and to your family, and basically acknowledge that you had feelings for one of your friends. That there were so many layers and levels to this. I had to say bravo to the Duffer Brothers because they didn't live through it. They had to glean what they could from other people's experiences. It's one thing to get the right costumes. It's another thing to get the photo mat and the physical accoutrement which littered that era. But to get the themes, to get the feelings, to get the complexities of a coming of age piece in an era that you did not live through, I have to say bravo. It was fabulous for me because it's like, I lived that. Yep, that's right. Yep, absolutely. I know what it's. Lucas was me and I was Lucas, and they could do nothing wrong for me.
Yeah.
So let me I'm gonna hop in on that particular point about the whole coming out thing, because in retrospect, that was about 7 minutes of screen time for his, and to me, I thought it was a very obvious undercurrent from the very beginning. And so it was interesting that the people who commented negatively about, oh, why you gotta be woke, I was like, well, first of all, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I was a theater kid in school. So I definitely knew people who were gay.
Yep.
And within our theater group, even if it was an issue outside of the theater group, the thing that rang a little false to me was that in this group of geeks who were a tight group already, the idea that Mike would be that afraid, or Will, I'm sorry, right? Will the Great. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
That he would be that afraid was a little surprising to me, because if you spent time with any people in high school in the 80s who were gay and they were your friends, everybody knew what the deal was. And so when he made this, well, I'm just saying from my experience, I'm not saying that's a universal truth.
I just want to add one thing, if only because I attributed that to it being Hawkins, Indiana, in the Midwest. And
well, I mean, I was in a Chicago suburb, but sure.
Yeah, but I'm saying, we're in the metropolitan area, so we're a little bit more liberal, small L, more progressive, small P, and have been exposed to people who may not have been self-aware that they were gay, but we kind of knew that they were gay. And the idea of coming out in LA in 1986, 87, and I graduated high school in 87, was probably very different than in anywhere in Indiana, which is Klan land.
All I'm saying is that for it to be the 2020s, I think some people who were watching this show and not fully contextualizing that it took place in the 80s might have found that moment to be a little anticlimactic. Like I say, there was certainly a buildup for the character, but it was the final 5 minutes of one episode, and then we had the long break, and then we come back, and it's like, you mean you're still my friend? No, I'm your best friend. And I was like, okay, so great. So it's fine. I didn't mind it at all. I get it. But it was just the fact that that was such an emotional thing for him, when literally I thought everybody on the show knew, just like everybody in the audience knew.
Well, I mean, that for me, that's like growing up and going to church, here in LA. And there was that gay brother who was in the choir who everyone knew, but every day he was like, oh no, I like girls. And you're like, I don't think you do. I don't think you like girls. Like, I like girls. And I think that is what they were trying to express. And also the actor himself, whose name I'm forgetting, but that was also something that he wanted to bring to
Noah
the table.
Yeah, Noah.
Yeah, no, because that was also part of his coming out just to the world as well, and so this was, it served a dual purpose because he was also going through this whole moment in his personal life of accepting and identifying and doing all that as well. So, and he's a young dude, so I think for them, because you got to remember in at that period in the 80s, hell, even Eddie Murphy was on stage talking crazy about gay folks. It was not a thing that you wanted. It wasn't. I mean, there were those scenes in the Police Academy movies where the two cops would end up in
the Blue Oyster.
In the Blue Oyster, where being a sissy or being the F word, like you threw that around, and those was fighting words in some cliques, because that was like, nah, you're calling me the worst thing on planet Earth, and that's how people felt at that time. So for him, that fear that he had, I believed it.
Twally, you missed one thing. You're missing the elephant in the room. We're talking about the height of the AIDS crisis.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes. Oh yeah.
As far as the stigma attached to being gay at that time. Yeah. And what pissed me off is a little bit of a diversion, a digression. What pissed me off with the people who were hating on that scene just overlooked Robin having her lesbian relationship for 2 whole seasons before that.
Hey man, say that louder for the people in the back.
Right. People was full of shit. It's like, have you not been watching? Well, everybody knew Will was gay, with the exception of Will, who had not come to terms with it, and I was fine with it. But then you have Robin and her candy striper girlfriend.
But to be fair, lesbianism was never the focus, even during the AIDS crisis. It was because there's a male gaze aspect of two lesbians that is different than the aspect of 2 men getting together, which is part of the real challenge. Like, the AIDS epidemic was perceived as a gay male thing, and then gay males or DL males passing it on to women, and then blood transfusions and everything else. But it just the scare wasn't the same. But it is definitely true. It is unquestionably true that when Steve the Harrington guy getting rebuffed from old girl, it was like, okay. Chips.
Can I interject? I don't think that the generation of today have no concept of what the AIDS crisis even was like.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like the concept of asking questions of, can you sit next to somebody? Can you hug them? That was kind of the basis. We used to have, I don't know if you guys remember, but we used to have like assemblies that would go over, can you hug them? Can you drink after them? So I think that all of that, and I get, like I said, I haven't watched the show, but I get that there is a difference between lesbians. But as a woman growing up, as a little girl growing up, we knew the girls who were gay, but we didn't have a word for it, in the sense of trying to figure out, like, they should be liking somebody, but I don't think they like boys. They weren't openly dating. Even, I'm a little younger than you guys, but they weren't dating girls. I'm sure they may be doing it behind closed doors, but they absolutely weren't having open female relationships. And I grew up in, LA, Pasadena.
Look, there was an entire nightclub, and Mo knows what I'm talking about, an entire nightclub dedicated to lesbian women going out, having a good time, where damn near every single celebrity that you've ever wondered, were they lesbian, we saw them at this nightclub.
No,
every one of them.
We can call names now. When people were still debating when Queen Latifah was gay back in the 2000s, we saw her with her girlfriends in the mid-90s at clubs 7669, or Peanuts, as people knew it, in the mid-90s.
And they would have these public male, quote unquote, male relationships, like we're supposed to believe, like Debrat. We believe that she actually had her and Allen Iverson. Okay, they say that they had a relationship.
Sister Debrat, she was up in there too. So that's what I'm saying. It was a thing. Hell, look how long Luther hid it, and Luther never told nobody. We just all knew.
No,
right. Well, but see, the other thing is that to bring us back to the core of the show, these were high schools, and
Yes.
even in my high school, there were no gay male or lesbian couples, even in the theater group. That was not the thing. Just the awareness that this one guy was gay was just kind of like an unspoken, or not even an unspoken. It wouldn't be like, hey, dude, I know you're gonna go get some tonight or anything like that. It was just like, we know he's gay, and so that's it. But I didn't ever see dudes holding hands in my high school or anything like that. I'm not saying that. It wasn't that liberal, even outside of Chicago. So, but I would say that some of the things that I have heard were about where were the Demogorgons in the Abyss, and some people. I was a person who was very easily accepting of the notion that maybe the Mind Flayer used their biomass to create the big super mega tarantula. But then the Duffers were like, no, they just didn't think they'd be needed. I was like, the Duffers need to shut up. Just let people live in their fandom and figure out their own shit. They keep stepping on their own dicks for that. It's like
they're making things worse.
They are. It's like, shut up, bro. Like, we're fixing it for you. Leave it alone. Just let it go.
Yeah, we're trying to make some sense out of some things that are nonsense. There's a lot of stuff I had to just go with. One thing I know, me and Tom were talking about this offline, is how Elle survived, and Mike's story of the mage and all that. And one thing, if you have not watched it, in the end, how Callie, the sister, dies, is she is shot while in the lab, and how Elle allegedly dies in the series is while everyone escapes the Upside Down and they detonate this mass bomb of energy keeping the walls of the Upside Down together, and she supposedly dies in this. One thing that I believe possibly happened, Tom, and I've thought about this because I looked at our text exchange quite a lot, like, because it was bothering me, like, wait a minute, how did that happen? I don't think, Tom, that Callie was in the lab.
No,
I don't
wasn't.
think. Callie wasn't in the lab. Yes,
Callie, from the moment the kryptonite projector blew up, Callie created the illusion of her being shot. Because she knew Hopper needed to believe that she was dead, because Hopper would not accept. He had bought off on the fact that Elle was not going to just sacrifice herself, but Callie knew that she needed to be disappeared. She needed to Hans Gruber herself, so that if you steal $670 million, they will chase you unless they believe you're dead. And so Callie knew that. And so I think because I went back and I rewatched it, when his gun goes off, he gets 2 shots off.
Yeah.
But he was aiming at her head.
Yes. He was not aiming at her midsection.
He clicked the 2. There's no real evidence that she actually got shot. You see the 2 things go off. And so my thinking is, and in that moment, Colleen knew that she was going to have to create a cover story. And so she pretended to be shot. Somebody else even watched it, and I didn't go back and watch it after this, that said after Elle was compressing the blood, when she gets up, there's no blood on her hands. When she walks up to the top of the roof, there's no blood on her hands before she jumps up. And, when he says, where's Callie? He doesn't look at her hands that should be covered in blood.
Yes.
He has no idea that she's dead.
I missed that.
So to me, she never was shot. And as soon as Elle left and Hopper left to go tell Austin that she was dead, she skedaddled. And she went to the gate. All of that time that Elle went to the Abyss, all that time she was battling Vecna, all this, whatever, Callie left and went to the gate out of sight. Now, people talk about the kryptonite. The kryptonite was never aimed at the gate.
It was aimed away.
Right.
Yes.
It appeared to be sound waves technology. So maybe if it had some residual effect because she could hear the waves, it wasn't pointed at her, especially since she was in still the upside down behind the gate. So she was still in full possession of her powers. And if you can imagine looking at that hole in the wall and she's just out of the sight line of the wall, it's super easy for her to project L because there's no way a crippled kryptonite L would have stumbled all the way over to that gate unseen. We saw L in the truck, and we saw L briefly on the outside of the truck, and then next thing you know, she magically appears in that hole. I'm not buying it. So I don't care what the duffers say. I think it was Kali, period.
To poke a hole in that little one real quick, remember, when they drive out, the army is already there. They laid the trap, the spike's there. They would have caught her walking out unless she, projected her powers to sneak through.
And that's what it is. When they showed that door moving in Mike's wrap up, I said that makes sense. She was on the outside of the truck, and there's da 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 da, and then Sarah Connor says, "Where's the girl?" And by that time, there were like four. What was it? It was the 12 children plus Luke
all the soldiers,
and all those other people. Max was already taken control of. Hopper was already taken control of, and the little candy striper girl. You had 20 people that you were wrangling, and the only thing that makes sense is that as soon as Elle got out, she slipped behind the truck. Kali made her invisible, and she opened that door and then dropped into the hole where she was outside of the range of the kryptonite. It's the only thing that really makes sense. There's no way. She could barely move when the kryptonite energy was on her. She could not have run past the kryptonite things to get to that. That was what, 30 meters?
Yeah. There's no way she could have done it. Yeah, no.
There's no way.
Well.
I believe.
Tom, leave them on one thing. Remember when she was training with Hopper and she had to make those leaps?
She couldn't make the leaps.
No, she couldn't make those.
I see where it's going, but no,
I don't
use their powers at all.
No.
They had 6 projectors on that truck. There's no effing way.
Tuala, correct me if I'm wrong. Were they activated when they came out?
Yes. When they came out, they were on. When they came out, they were on. And even if she was able to make the leap, that would have made her a lot easier to see because everyone is standing around. She's not going to leap. And the leaps aren't straight up into the sky. The leaps are all vertical. Someone would have seen her. And there were even the troops that were surrounding the truck. There were also troops around just in the area. Someone would have seen her make that leap. But the only thing that could have happened is Kali using her powers.
But the issue with all of this is it was Kali's idea for them to stay behind and die. Why would she change her plan now? Why would she now?
Because of that heartfelt moment.
Because of Hopper's plea. She literally lowered her gun. She was ready to shoot Hopper.
I'm not buying it. You're talking about a girl who's done everything she did to survive, and she's not going to run that risk of being out there, especially with Elle.
I think it's because of her love for Elle, and in that moment, her seeing also Hopper's true love for her as well, and how much Elle needed that. And the things that Hopper was saying made sense to her. Someone who had been out on the run long before Elle, who had already grouped up, someone who could look at that situation and say, like, you know what? Yeah, man, like Elle, this is what Elle needs, that freedom. She does need to live a life. And I believe that is what happened. I believe that she had that change of heart in that moment. Up until then, she was like, man, fuck all this. We all about to go out.
And Kali didn't care about her own life because her team, her loser squad, had been eliminated by these people. She didn't have anything left to live for. Yeah. But she knew that Elle did. And even if she knew it meant Elle wouldn't be able to be with Mike and all that other sort of stuff, she knew that Elle would be able to get out and be on her own. And that was enough to get, because again, she was ready for both of them to die because she didn't want other kids to suffer what they suffered. But when Hopper convinced Elle that there was a way for her to live, Kali bought off on that. That's what I think.
There was one scene, I think, and I talked about this with Tom offline. I think this needed, or I just personally wanted one last scene in the way that at the end of The Dark Knight Rises, you get to see Bruce Wayne in France, and you have Albert Pennyworth find him in France with just a look and a glance. I would have loved to have seen a forward look with all the losers grown up. We get to see their graduation in high school, which is 89. It would have been nice if they had like a reunion, a high school reunion, present day, because you had that long soliloquy when Mike talks about their future contentment and where their lives are going to go. I would have loved to have seen that Captain America post-Endgame moment where they're older in present day, and then maybe they catch a glimpse of Elle, just happen to walk by or something like that to resolve it.
Now,
and everyone's life.
Now, here's the thing, Mo. The fact that they ended the series the way they did, to the chagrin of any asshole who wanted to see all the kids die for some reason.
Exactly.
The fact that they ended it the way that they did is
I want Anthony to weigh in on. I want to hear who you want to hear.
Hold on, let's see finish.
I was just gonna say that it allows for maybe a special or something that they could do in the future where they can't absolutely do that, where they do bring them together, and it does make room for that, because there is room, even though folks may not like it, there is room for a story where Elle, a la, one of the last surviving Jedis, is out in the world and does something where she uses her powers to possibly save someone, to do something, gets the government back on her track. Because the government, they still want her. They think she's dead. If she does anything to activate, reveal herself, or they catch wind that there's someone who did something using their mind, they're going to be on the hunt. That could bring the crew back together. Like, hey, I don't know.
Did Matthew Modine's character die? I can't remember.
Yeah,
he must have.
Yeah, he died. In season 4. Season 4.
Yeah, he died horribly. Yep.
All I will say is, I hear you, Mo, but when they did the CGI aging of those Harry Potter kids, I was like, I don't need to see this. I don't want to see Harry looking old and scraggly.
But see, here's the thing, though, Tom.
Lucius Malfoy looking crazy.
These kids, it doesn't have to be that. Like, these kids, when they're not all shaved down and all that, these kids don't look as young as we think.
Different hair,
like that boy Lucas has a full-on beard. He be shaving beard.
Yeah, for sure. But he still looks young in the face, is all I'm saying. If fast forwarding 30 years, he ain't gonna look, even with that fucked up high top, he ain't gonna look the same now. So
you could just do a little makeup. It doesn't have to be CGI.
So Anthony, who did you want to see die? That's what I need to know.
Oh, okay. So first off, I wanted to see Harry die. I mean, what's the name? With the hair.
Steve.
Steve Harrington.
Steve Harrington. Because there have to be consequences in these people's actions. Okay, not everybody's gonna make it out. And this right here, the discussion of the ending, this is what they wanted. It's a D&D, and it's a choose your own adventure. This is you choose your own ending. How do you want this story to end? It's exactly like the game. How did you see it play out in your little book while you're sitting there with your friends? This is what they wanted. But there has to be consequences for these people's actions. I mean, we watch Hopper murder people and get his job back. We watch Nancy murder people. She's not a law enforcement. She was a high school reporter, and she was murdering people without consequences at all. There has to be consequences for these people's actions. They're not all going to make it out alive. And we watched it for seasons 1 through 4. We watched the consequences with Max. We watched them with Alexi. We watched them with what's her name's boyfriend getting killed. We watched it with just poor parenting, not knowing where your kid is, go missing. This was it was rooted in real life things, and there's no real life consequences at the end. What, we get one person who gets killed, who they brought back from season 2, who looks like a 40-year-old woman. She's supposed to be like 18. Like, there's no consequences in any of their actions. None.
By the way, it is 39 minutes, and y'all are still on Stranger Things, and y'all.
I could go all day on this.
I'm just putting it out there.
I will just say this: none of the kids in ET died, and it's set in the same time frame. So
They weren't out killing soldiers in their backyard.
And I talked to Mo about this off text. These were nameless red shirt soldiers who were, and most of those bodies that they bodied were in the upside down. They were gone anyway.
Not when they went back through. Not when they went back through.
They didn't kill anybody when they came out the last time.
Oh, yes, they did.
When they came out the last time, they didn't kill anybody because they
not when they came out. When they went in.
Not the last time. Not the last time. When they came out and then went back in at the end.
Hopper killed, yeah.
Yeah, Hopper and Nancy shot the shit out of
upside down, though. He killed them in the upside down. There's no bodies.
Not there.
Where are you talking about?
Tom, remember when they in the final plan, when they went to the base, when they were going to go in the upside down, when they went through that gate, Hopper shot the shit out of those dudes that were in the tower. And then Nancy came out and shot the shit out of a couple dudes. Okay.
And again, let's break this down from a governmental perspective, right? This is a top secret mission. Nobody is conceding that there's a dimensional rift.
It's off the books.
They have shut off. Everything's off the books. All of those people, and to the point, nobody really liked Sarah Connor. Nobody really liked her ass. And when the brother, he was believing because of rank and everything else, when he got his ass tore out the frame by the Demogorgon and was on that goddamn stretcher, he was like, them monsters tore a fucking hole in our ass.
Yeah, it wasn't no little girl. It had nothing to do with anything you was talking about,
third-dimensional monsters eating on motherfuckers. That's what the focus was. And guess what? They were killing kids. The audience has no sympathy for people who were killing kids. And
then Hopper and then blew up the building with the pregnant women inside.
What do you mean?
Everybody was murdering everybody apparently in this one.
No, the building they blew up was in. There were no women.
No,
in the
they left
down.
them in there.
No, there weren't any women in the upside down.
Those women were in the base that was on the outside of the upside down. Those women were in the base where they were at when they came out of the upside down. Those pregnant women were there.
And they weren't doing
that.
They weren't the women.
I could have sworn they were doing that on the upside down because that's where they had Callie trapped.
Well,
that's where they were pulling her blood.
That was mostly told in flashback. That was Callie's experience in flashback. So we don't have a sense of whether or not, because some of those babies died because she was the failure. They were using her blood, and those babies weren't coming out like Elle. They needed the connection to Vecna.
Well, even then,
to create the good babies.
Didn't their powers come about when they're in some sort of adolescent? I don't know, fucking development stages.
Well, it appeared
8 to 12.
What I took out of it was that, from Kylie's perspective, those babies, most of those babies didn't even make it to term. So it wasn't
Callie was saying
there
that
wasn't
the babies
enough time
and the women
for
were
any
dying.
of the babies who have been experimented on to grow old enough to manifest powers. Because by the time, it took 10 years for us, but it wasn't 10 years in their universe. It was only 3 or 4 years over the course of the passage of time, I think. I don't think.
And when Callie ran out, she was like, those women were dying. She was like, those women were dying. There was no saving.
The blood was messing them up.
Yeah.
There
all them like blowing up the lab didn't mean anything. They were all gonna die.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay. All right. Look. Okay. I know. I got you. Thank you, Liz. Thank you. Before we do get out of here, I am an Avatar truther. I am someone who does not, under any circumstance, believe that this movie or this movie franchise is as successful as the box office would lead us to believe. I went to go see it opening night because I wanted to see the first Doomsday trailer, or what I thought was going to be the first trailer. I went to go and see it on my A+ pass, and the theater was packed. I bought one of only 2 remaining seats that were open when you looked at my purchase. I said, damn, well, I'm going to go on and buy this seat right here because I'm not trying to stay in anyway. It's an uncomfortable seat. Fine, I'll go in there just so I can see the trailer. I got in there, but when the trailer started rolling, I was still in a theater that sat maybe 200 people. I was one of 20 people in the theater. one of 20 when on my purchase, it showed that the whole damn theater was packed. I was like, damn, people are going out to see this. No, and here's the thing. I saw the trailer, the first Doomsday trailer, which was the Captain America trailer, which pissed me off to no fucking end. I was so hot watching that 25, 30-second teaser that I said, what in the entire fuck is happening? Fuck Avengers Doomsday. Fuck this film. If this is what you're leading me with, I don't even care if this film comes out, because now I'm mad. Okay, I'm super mad because this looks like some bullshit. I stormed, and when I left out of there, 5 people went out with me. Now, at first I thought they're not all here just to see the trailer like me, and turns out, yes, they were. These were 5 dudes who left out with me. 2 of them were together. They were talking shit about the trailer, and then 3 more. We all walked out of the theater. We didn't go to the lobby. They didn't go to the bathroom. We all left up out the theater. And here's the thing. The lobby was not like full of people trying to, get snacks for this hour-long line that Liz experienced, when she was... No. There was no one in the damn lobby. So for me to believe that this film sold as many tickets as it did, then that theater should have been packed. I call bullshit on Avatar. I think the franchise is shit, and I think that this film is shit. I looked at a little bit of the bootleg, and I said, fuck out of here, am I watching this? This is stupider than I could have even imagined, so I didn't even finish watching that trash shit.
Okay.
That's just me.
Let me say that I do think it's a little genius that 2 parts, I think, of the genius. The trailer comes after Avatar, like after all the credits are done. I mean, all the other ads are done. You think it's over. The AMC thing comes, then you get the trailer before the movie starts. So it really does make you sit for about 30-something minutes before the trailer comes. So I think that there's genius in that. I think that there is also genius that every single week up into Super Bowl, you're going to get a new trailer. So I think that that's pretty genius. So they're trying to bring more people to come back. However, I do not believe, today I looked up and kept track of how many seats are sold. There's a lot of them that are just completely empty. Maybe 1 or 2 seats that are reserved at different theaters. So I didn't just do one theater, and this is in the LA area. But I will say this about Avatar. I have a different gripe than Tawala. It's too damn long. And the thing that I have a problem with is, just like Hamilton, just like last year's movie, The Immigrant, there was an intermission. This movie needed an intermission. If I go in at 9:30 and I'm getting out at 1:15, I should have had an intermission. This is insane.
That's 4 hours of your life.
For a movie with credits, and I get out at 1:15, and I could have sat there longer and seen all the other credits at the end. So just to give you, so it probably would have been a little like 120, 125. That's insane to not give me an intermission. But the thing, there's a positive spin here. I do think this is better than the second Avatar. I do think that the thing that I struggled with is Avatar, to me, is a movie that is only good to be seen in person in a theater. It doesn't translate as well on a regular television. I saw it in Dolby, and for the first 30 to 45 minutes, it really looked like it was in 3D. It's beautiful to watch. Throw away the story. The story's not that bad, but I'm just, I have my gripes with some of the story, and I'm trying to figure out there's so many things I don't like about it, but it's it's beautiful to watch. And I think Mo tells me why I hate this movie so much, because it's beautiful to watch. It has a decent storyline. It has all the action that you'd want in the third one. So, and I actually think this is 2 movies in one, which is why I think in an hour and a half, you could have put that as a movie by itself and then had a whole nother movie. But it's a lot of tropes, which is the thing that I probably hate about the movie, which is why I really can't stand it. But if it didn't have as many tropes, it would be a nice little movie. And I wonder too, for me, my last thought is I wonder if this movie came out, if the original movie came out at a time where all of these other savior complexes about the environment, maybe I'd have a different take on this. I don't know, but I just can't wrap my head around why I don't like this movie as much as I probably should, because it's beautiful to watch. The action is there. There's some parts of the story I really can't stand. I can't stand the talking whales. I think that is just ridiculous.
Fuck out of here. Talking.
Like you get a little bit of, they make a little noise and then they give you this very long, right? And I'm like, that whale just all that. I don't believe that.
I would just say this. I think that you didn't have to have Avatar 2, because if you had not had Avatar 2, I think this movie would have been received a lot better, because Avatar 2 was basically just there to set up the water people, and he's doing this elemental thing. I get it. So, but because the water people and the fire people were both in Avatar 3, you probably could have smushed those. You could have smushed them together, because the beats of the third act of Avatar 3 were very, very reminiscent of the beats. It was almost shot for shot, position for position. The whales strike back, and then Jake and Quaritch and little spider dude and all them motherfuckers is running around on a sinking ship. That was very, very, very similar. But I did like a Na'vi antagonist. I thought that was a cool touch. And I thought she was, no play on words, I thought she was fire. She was really, really good. As far as underdeveloped as she was a badass. And it was very like, one of you Star Wars people will know this. Who was the dark Sith that was understudying in the animated series? The Ventress. Ventress. She was giving Naj Ventress vibes to me. And so I was really responding to that. So the thing I didn't like about the movie, because I think I liked it probably better than anybody else on the panel. Again, it is a gorgeous movie to watch, unquestionably. It is a cinematic experience, unquestionably. If it was your first time seeing it, you definitely, or seeing anything in the franchise, you'd probably be lost, because you did need to know some stuff. You needed to know Avatar 1 at least to understand why some people were talking like indigenous people and some people were talking about regular Americans, but they were also tall and blue. So you needed some setup. And I think that's the 30 or 40 minutes of this movie, trying to connect it to the last movie, trying to bring the Sully clan together and all of that. That was long. And my challenge with this movie franchise overall is that I won't say white saviorism, because it's not so much white, but it's definitely Terran saviorism. And Jake Sully, all of Jake's family, with it, when his Avatar body impregnated Neytiri, all of his kids end up with 5 fingers, because his Avatar body had 5 fingers. That has to be a regressive trait. Yeah. It can't be. Yeah. In the entire. So
the problem.
Also, spoiler alert: the little white boy gets Avatar lungs, and so it was just, and the A1
I agree,
just loves
Tom,
some Terrans, apparently.
Can I jump in, please?
I agree with Tom, though. That second movie, if you didn't have that second movie, I think this would be a much better concept. But that second movie was really to try to go back and get people to remember what the first movie was about. And then it was almost like this connector movie to the first and the second. But again, 3 hours of connectorism is just, it's a lot.
Go ahead, Mo.
There's some things I want to dovetail that Liz said. It's if you've seen Avatar, then you know that you have seen the movie in other forms. the fact that they have the fire people, they have the water people. It's like, okay, this is the last Airbender. It's Tarzan. It's all these things that we've seen before. And yes, I'm going to go the racial. There is a white savior thing where you have Jake Sully from another fucking galaxy somewhere, spends 3 months on the planet, and he can do all the things.
He's the Chakma or whatever.
Yeah,
the Chakma.
And that infuriated me. And then you have the son of the villain, and he gets the lungs. You know, all these things where they are the superheroes on this planet bothered the shit out of me.
You forgot Sigourney Weaver. Sigourney Weaver had more powers than almost anybody else.
So Sigourney Weaver is literally any teacher, any of those movies where you had a teacher who would go to the hood and teach the kids. I don't care if it was a Latino hood, a black hood, but it was any of those movies where they would go and turn this badass school.
Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer.
The Michelle Pfeiffer. That's what
Sigourney Weaver was. Our lives living in the Pandora paradise.
Right. All those things make me hate the movie. Now, and Tuwala didn't explain this, when he and I were working in the music business, it was well known, and we did this at Warner Brothers Records. I'm calling names. When we had a record coming out that we were iffy on, that we weren't so sure, we spent money to have people on our street team go into stores and physically buy the records to increase our sound scan numbers in the hopes that we be in a hit Billboard at #1 or what have you.
Yep.
So to Wallace's point, when he is on the app and he's purchasing tickets, and these tickets are purchased by somebody somewhere, but there aren't actual bodies behind them, that says to me, yes, the numbers are bullshit. They are
the theater is the studio is buying seats. The studio is paying for those tickets, and it's all rolled into the marketing and promotion budget of the film, as it was when you're an artist and that money comes out. They are going out and buying tickets, or they're paying for kids to call the radio station and request the record. All that goes back to the marketing and promotion. I believe, and I don't even need proof, I just believe on some straight up Stranger Things shit that this movie is nowhere near as successful as the box office would lead us to believe. And because if you check right now, it is not, it's a 4-hour experience. Do you know how many times people would have to go back for another 4 hours of this film? A film to make the multi-millions and billions of dollars that this franchise is supposedly bringing in, it would require multiple screenings. There are not enough theaters that are even showing this film that many times for it to be able to happen like that. It can't happen.
Now, Tawala, I will put a pin on that one and say there's not a lot of competition right now in regards. I mean, yeah, you still have Zootopia that's out there. There's still a couple of smaller, I don't want to say smaller, but you know what I mean? It's just not, Avatar is really at the moment by itself in comparison to all these other things. So they are showing it quite a bit, but the problem I'm still having is that it's 4 hours, and having a brand new Avengers film, 1 minute and 22 seconds to 1 minute and 50 seconds before a little trailer is not enough. Because I mean, I thought about it, and my kids want to go back to see it. Amazingly, they don't want to see the movie. I was like, I can't do 4 hours. I can only do one. If you had it as a 1.5 hour movie, I'd actually go back and do something. If it was a 2 hour movie, fine. But 3 hours and 15 minutes.
I will just say this. It's important to note that only $280 million of the worldwide box office gross are U.S. numbers. And $279 million is not a lot of money in a domestic showing of a movie of this scale. It's not. The other thing I would say is that in the era of A-list, I know I had originally put one of my ticket purchases in for Thursday. And Thursday is when A-list flips. So I had put in a Thursday. I realized I couldn't go. I canceled that one and then put in a 9:15 show for Friday the next morning. But there may have been people who are fans of the franchise and who wanted to, or maybe to Mo and Twala's point, they said, listen, guys, I need you to put your A-list in because it's less of a marketing spend for them to put A-list seats in. Now, when I saw it at 9:15 in the morning on a Friday, it was about as full as what I expected it to be based on where I had to get my ticket. And what I will say is that most people knew that if you had a 9:15 show, just like all AMC things, your movie wasn't going to start until 9:45. And so what I saw a bunch of people come in right before they anticipated where the Doomsday trailer was, because Thursday night sneaks said the Doomsday trailer is the last thing. So you do not need to show up at the beginning. So people were coming in. So to my point, I was there for 9:15 and I waited just because I had no problem watching all the trailers. But if you consider it was a 9:45 movie, I was out of the theater by 12:50. I was texting you all. So yes, it technically, if you got there at the showtime and then you waited until all the credits, I didn't wait for all the credits. I knew it was done, and so I left. I didn't wait the additional 10 minutes to see the names because this isn't a Marvel movie. I wasn't looking for a preview of the next movie. So I just dipped as soon as it was done and everybody was happy. I got up and left.
Y'all need to give me an intermission.
And you know what? I would add one thing.
Go ahead, Mo.
And we know this when we have billion-dollar movies, and this goes back to the second Avatar movie, which supposedly made $2 billion around the world, mostly foreign,
right?
Which is dubious to me. But remember when you have a movie like Black Panther or even Infinity War, it's an event movie, and it makes all that money. But when you try to find tickets, you can go to any theater, and it's shown in like 5 different screens.
Right.
That wasn't the case with Avatar. It didn't have that type of layering, which would allow enough people to go see that 4-hour movie. So to Liz's point, when you have a 4-hour experience and it's not theater dominant, where they're setting aside all these screens for it, I question the possibility of it even approaching $1 billion internationally and domestically.
All I would say is that Endgame domestic did 858 and Black Panther domestic did 800 million. Right. So
and most of Avatars, especially the second one, because I remember we were on the air arguing about this. All of the money made was all overseas, and it was taking place at a time when it could not have happened.
But Black Panther also dominated in regards to people decided, oh my gosh, we're going to have most of our theater house playing Black Panther. And Avengers, it was a moment people stood still. They were having that sucker. I mean, because it was a long movie too. Mm-hmm. It was running from, 8 o'clock in the morning until midnight. Like, I mean, it was almost a 24-hour experience for people to get the time to come in. And Avatar only did that for a short period of time, but it didn't have as many screenings. I'm unconvinced. It's just the timeline.
All I know is that I understand why people
and who's talking about it.
Back. Well, people are pushing back against it because the movies are long. But I will also say, as I said in the chat, James Cameron ain't made a movie that was 1 hour and 30 minutes in decades. So stop fucking around. Terminator 2, Aliens, Titanic, The Abyss. The Abyss is fucking 3 hours. If you look at the director's cut, he likes making long movies and people are content to sit with him for long periods of time.
No, I got that.
People who specialize in long shit.
I got that. Like, it's not necessarily an argument of the length of the movie. It's also about the movie being good. And when you look at those films, The Abyss did nothing. Terminator 2 was not a big success. Box office wise, it wasn't. We go back, that one was not as big as this because there was a humongous gap in between, and everyone was not bought or sold on furlong. They just weren't. It was a good movie. I watched it in theaters. I loved it, but it was not a huge success. When he
Terminator
came back
made
for
$520 million worldwide in 1991. That's a big fucking success in 1991. Let's not be confused. That was a big movie.
I'm looking at when you talk about a film franchise, when you talk about someone who is all of a sudden making $1 billion off of arguably a film that is only visually appealing. There is nothing good about these stories. If you have seen The Last Samurai, if you have seen any Tarzan movie, if you have seen Pocahontas, you've already seen all of his source material. There's nothing new under the sun having anything to do with his films. Really, not even the fact that there are blue people. You know what I'm saying? Like, that isn't even really that original. You know what I'm saying? His characters look like the damn tall, lanky characters in Star Wars. The folks who are engineering the damn clones. The Caminos. All I'm saying is he is claiming that he is making all this money on a visual spectacular when the theater showings, the amount of times that this film is being shown in theaters don't match. That is what I'm saying. I'm saying it just does not match.
Of it is not even there.
There's no one talking about it. No one is walking around saying, "Oh, you've got to see this," except for ads. Ads don't count. There is no social media buzz. There is no fandom. There's no people showing up in groups all dressed like Na'vi, like they were showing up dressed like characters from Black Panther or even Wakanda Forever. It's not there for this.
The only competition at the moment is SpongeBob, and I mean that's essentially what.
And competition is fine, but if Avatar's only showing in 1 or 2 theaters, and it can only show for 4 or 5 times per day, you're not making billions of dollars off that.
To be fair, there's more talk about Sinners and its re-release, right? Than it is about Avatar and how Sinners has been re-released and it's been sold out in their IMAX, their
the 70mm, yes,
that's been completely taken over by the Sinners re-release. I don't know. I'm unconvinced. You watch it once. The only thing I think of is the Avengers. I mean, that has more buzz than anything. All of the Avenger leaks has had more buzz.
Yeah, but is it good buzz or bad buzz? Because I'm hating on it.
The X-Men one is getting people hyped. The X-Men trailer in the Thor trailer, people do like the Thor trailer too, or teaser. These aren't, and we talked about it a bit in chat. None of this shit is in the movie. These are literal promos to get people excited. There's no way there's a scene of Thor in the forest praying basically to himself because he is the All-Father now.
Yep.
Yes.
Odin's dead. He's Rune King Thor. So, I mean, I understand you pray to daddy. Got it. But all I'm saying is that X-Men shot, and you've seen the stills, even if you haven't seen the video, when James Marsden is doing a full spread optic beam from the Punch universe, that shit looks bad as hell. And he's in an X-Men 97 authentic uniform minus the yellow tidy whities. It's a good look. And that, I think, has people more hyped than anything else because we've never seen a Cyclops in the MCU. And so to see that Cyclops in the MCU doing what he's doing, to me, it was reminiscent of the moment, the first episode of X-Men 97, when Cyclops jumps out of the plane and then shoots his I-beams down to slow him down and then says, "To me, my X-Men." I was like,
So, I don't know about anybody else, but this Doomsday is gonna make a shit ton of money.
Oh no, Doomsday is. I'm just not running to go see it. This is probably for me one of the first times in the entirety of the MCU where I'm like, because I am a long-standing fan. I love these characters. Even DC films. Even if I don't think I'm gonna like the movie, I've run to the theaters for even DC films. I first day I saw the damn Joker part shit, and so I do. I'm a fan like that because growing up collecting comics, I like seeing these characters on the big screen. I don't need them to be comic representations. Like, I don't need them to be true to a comic story. But this Doomsday, for me, I was maybe expecting something different. I was hoping to get something different. I was hoping to get a new look, and to be showing me basically old looks to get me hype. I'm like, that's that's not a win for me. Showing me Cap, showing me Thor, showing me even the X-Men from the other universe. That this is it's not a win for me.
I would wait for the first real trailer. Okay,
no, and yes. When I see the first real trailer, when I see the Super Bowl trailer, supposed to be the first real trailer where we see Doom and all that. That to me will let me know what the film is going to look like. Because these teasers for me, it's like you said, Mo. I don't think that these are scenes from a movie. I think that these are things that are designed to get people who remember what they like about the MCU back in. I think that they want to show you these characters that we like. They want to show you the Cyclops giving, Tom the X-Men 97 glory. They want to show you that Steve Rogers is back, not Captain America. Steve Rogers is back. They want to show you Thor is back and he's a dedicated dad. So they want to get you to fall in love with the characters all over again so that maybe you'll take that in because, and this is what we talk about all the time in the thread, for the wider fan base, the MCU has fallen the fuck off. It has.
I disagree.
The MCU is not getting that take my money reaction that it was once getting. For me, yes. For me, I love it. I'm down to see everything. There's only been, I think, 1 or 2 movies that I did not like. I didn't hate them, but I just didn't like them. But right now I'm kind of like, man, dude, I'm tired.
Well, I don't know.
All I know is that Doomsday is the sequel.
Fuck you. Y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even know.
I mean, all I know is all up and down my timeline. It is all the spoilers. There's a new timeline spoiler. Looking at Kang spoiler that's coming, that's dropping. I mean, I do think it's kind of interesting that there's very little hype.
Spoiler or speculation?
No, there's images. People have been taking pictures from.
See, I try to stay away from it.
I will say this. This is the first year where I take anything I see on the internet with a grain of salt until I see it projected on a screen. Because there have been so many. You got suckered in, Liz, talking about a trailer for Mandalorian and Grogu that you sure thought was real. And that shit was not real.
Yo, AI is a mug right now. AI is something
everything.
Else. Yeah. AI is doing some things that I'm like, I saw what I thought was the actual X-Men trailer. For Doomsday, I saw it, and it was on, and then I noticed some things. I was like, wait a minute.
That ain't it.
No, this is not it. This is madness. And but that's why I'm like, I don't look at anything that's online. Like if I don't see it in the theater, I don't trust it.
Or if it's coming from Marvel itself.
Yeah, it can't be, theater coming soon or theater now or any of those folks who put together trailers. But movie guy, love the Supergirl trailer. Me, I'm a fan of it, but I'm also a fan of James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy franchise as a whole. And Supergirl is giving me it's a different look. It's a different look. It's not the exact same as the Superman movie, and it's giving us a different look for Supergirl. So I'm down with that one.
I still feel like we should be getting a little bit more hype for Spider-Man, since Spider-Man is supposed to be coming out. And all this for Doomsday is nice, but I think that Spider-Man should be coming out.
But I think the moment that trailer comes out, and we could have basically 2 huge Marvel trailers within a 2-week span. Heaven forbid if those movies directly connected anyway, and we see that in the trailer. Heaven forbid. So that didn't bother me. I am hyped because I believe that Marvel is a very effective liar. They withhold scenes. They twist stories. I don't believe the Robert Downey Jr. we saw at Comic-Con in the classic Doom suit is going to be the predominant Dr. Doom. Honestly, I think that there's a curveball coming, and I talked about this with other friends, where Robert Downey Jr. may be one of many Doom variants that Robert Downey Jr. has to kill in the process of trying to have this unified multiverse where he is ruler of all. He can't have this variants running around. So I know that Marvel's going to have some things to throw at us that is going to fuck everyone up because everyone is speculating and nobody knows anything.
No, true that.
I think that would be great because obviously that would give you a little bit of the Kang flavor that we're losing, because obviously Jonathan Major, they showed 3 legit Kang variants in Centurion, a Scarlet Centurion, and Immortus, and Kang, and whatever the other one was that they showed at the end of Loki. So having Robert Downey Jr. as a Doom who is running around getting rid of other Dooms, especially like there could potentially be a Doom in the X-Men universe. There could potentially be a Doom from, I mean, we don't know if the Doom that we saw in the Fantastic Four post-credit scene was actually Robert Downey Jr., or maybe that was just their universe's Doom. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it could be that that's a subplot that gives us a little bit more of the multi-universe or multiverse flavor that kind of rescues the last part of the multiverse thread as Doomsday, and then Secret Wars kind of brings a close to that, and we springboard off into the X-Men. But I think that even fans who have been concerned about the demise of the MCU quality are going to be all in with this huge ass cast. I just can't.
I'm not saying they're not going to get my money. I'm not saying they're not going to get my money. I'm not saying. Look, I'm not saying that I'm not going to be there day one. I'm
how
just saying,
much of your money are they going to get?
You know, I'm just saying. You know, my excitement is tempered by the fact that I'm not down with these teasers. That's all I'm saying. Look, the MCU has still not done anything to turn me off of going to go and see their movies.
Right.
There's not even Thor 3. Like, I did not like that movie, but I still went and saw it. I didn't think it was going to be a good movie to begin with because the trailers weren't good for that movie. I didn't think that the trailers for Shang-Chi were good, but I still went to go see it. I go and see everything. You know,
I like Shang-Chi actually.
I know. So there are a lot of people that did. The film made a lot of money. And for me, it's quite possibly my least favorite of all the MCU films, next to Captain Marvel.
Shang-Chi was?
The Eternals?
Shang-Chi, yes. Huh?
You like the Eternals more?
I like the Eternals probably more. I've watched the Eternals more than I've watched Shang-Chi, yes. I did not like Shang-Chi at all because
we disagree on this one.
I mean, I think we disagree, you know, previously. Is that for me, and I'll say this because I got to go and pick my kids up. Look, there is no way on planet Earth Shang-Chi is going to study martial arts. I don't care if he studies every day. There's no way he's going to study for a 5-6 year period and be able to hold a candle. I don't care what he's got in his hands. I don't care. There's no way he'd be able to ever fight his father, who's been alive for thousands of years. His father is 1,000 years old, studying martial arts, ruling a land. Shang-Chi studied from the time he was 10 when his father allowed him. I'll give him 9, and then he left when he was 16.
Karate Kid.
Look, I get you, Karate Kid. I get that.
If you love Karate Kid, shut the fuck up.
Look, I get that it's plot armor, and I get it. But to me, I thought it was. And here's the thing: I've never believed that Daniel could study martial arts for a summer and go up against a seasoned black belt who had been winning tournaments forever. I never bought into that story.
And yet you watched Cobra Kai for 7 goddamn seasons.
Because Cobra Kai is great.
Daniel had just started at the new school, so it was in September. The All Valley is December 19th.
Oh, so you're making Shang-Chi even worse for me because that takes it to another level.
First of all, Shang-Chi, all I will say about Shang-Chi is that Shang-Chi was half the biological inheritor of his magic mama's powers.
That's true.
So,
but you still have to study those powers.
But
did not.
There's
it's not,
the entire X-Men universe
is
predicated on people coming into their powers at adolescence. And so all I'm going to say is that Shang-Chi's daddy wasn't of the alien species. Shang-Chi's daddy got his long life from the magic rings. Shang-Chi was actually half magic. And On balance, he's also the superhero when his name is Master of Martial Arts. Don't nobody know his daddy's name. Mandarin didn't have them powers in the comic book. Mandarin just had
I promise you this.
Star-Lord is half human. We know.
Okay, wait, Tawala. Come on now. We don't want to go down this road.
Okay, all right, look. Yeah, I'm done.
I will say that movie guy is right. How many Doomsday popcorn themed buckets will you get?
You're definitely getting a Doom mask. Definitely getting a Doom mask.
I cannot wait.
They've already done a Captain America shield, so I don't think you're getting that. You will get an X-Man box. You'll probably get an X-Man bucket with Cyclops visor. Or a Charles Xavier wheelchair bucket. Or a Magneto helmet bucket. That's what I'm going to say. I think it's going to be mostly X-Men themed.
Look, because Fantastic Four, X-Men, everyone's
that Fantastic Four bucket.
No, but Fantastic Four already. They'll bring back those old ass tins. They're not making no more new Fantastic Four shit. Trust and believe.
They might bring back all those.
The one with the robot. That robot one was amazing.
I haven't
re-released.
They are not.
No. I'm saying, Tom, they can re-release all. They can re-release the gold limousine from Thunderbolts. They can re-release all.
I'm telling you,
and that galactic one is going
to be
$100.
The hype is going to be around the X-Men and Doom. Mark my words. Doom mask, Magneto helmet, Charles Xavier wheelchair, and Cyclops.
They're not doing a wheelchair bucket.
Wow.
I'm telling you, they're gonna do a wheelchair bucket. You got the whole disabled community behind you, bro.
That is so inappropriate.
No, it is not. That is real.
I don't know what's more
inappropriate. Gonna have them
though.
yellow ass buckets, and you gonna lift Charles's head and get a full of popcorn in that bitch, and that's all.
Or the Deadpool bucket. Which one's worse?
No, okay. So I have the Deadpool zombie head, and I have the Wolverine thing, and I got the 2 cups. I think I got all of the Deadpool stuff actually.
Oh, speaking of, we know that Deadpool is in Doomsday, right? We know that, right?
Yes, because they were fighting on set.
Yeah,
and they're having a whole nother movie.
Yeah, Reynolds is apparently a real dick.
That's what I hear. Really? Yeah, everywhere I hear from, was it TJ? What's his name?
TJ Miller.
TJ Miller. The more that I hear about what's going on with this Justin Baldoni thing, and he hasn't received a lot of great press about him as a person,
right?
As of late, but we don't know these people.
Yeah, to be fair, being married to Blake Lively could put you on edge.
Damn. Wow. All right.
Green Lantern in that shitty ass movie put me on edge.
Wow. And Blake Lively was his love interest in that movie. I'm just saying.
Wow. There's a through line.
Wow, it's devolving. It's devolving. We're going into madness. Yes, I know there's nothing really coming out in the near future, but I definitely want to get together and do a best and worst of 2025. We definitely got to do Wonder Man because I might be the only person.
Drop it all at once.
No,
I'm going to watch Wonder Man.
Oh, we're there.
They probably made a mistake in leaning too heavy into the comedy for too long, but now that they're actually showing some manifested powers and the eyes. The ionic eyes look good.
Crazy.
Ionic eyes look real good.
I think our best and worst for 2025 is probably going to be short. Because I don't think there's a lot.
Which is fine. I just want to get together sooner than later because the people demand it.
Sure.
Right.
Yes.
Word up.
So are we going to do a what are we watching, or are we just getting out?
Got to get out. Got to get on, get out.
All right.
Yeah.
Where is my Navi suit?
Navi suit. Mo.
What are we, the Avengers or are we the Pre-Vengers? We're the Pre-Vengers or the Avengers?
Anthony.
Good news, everybody.
Dr. Liz.
No, we're the Revengers.
Excelsior.